and welcome to our look at the upcoming November 16th Binary Options Week. We have the economic calendar in front of you, and on the 16th, Monday, we have very little in the way of market-moving events, with perhaps the one exception being the European Union CPI numbers. We do have a speech by Draghi coming out of Europe as well, but quite frankly, that is probably not going to present too much in the way of fireworks. We have the New York Empire State Manufacturing Index, could move the U.S. stock market slightly, but again, a pretty minor number. Going into the 17th, we have on Tuesday PPI and several retail numbers coming out of Great Britain. We have the inflation report here, and so that, of course, can move the FTSE and the pound. We also have several other CPI numbers and PPI numbers coming out of Great Britain during the day, as well as the ZOO coming out of Germany. Once we roll into the American session, we have CPI coming out on several different levels, and as a result, it should be a pretty big stock market type of session on Tuesday. On the 18th, we have several different announcements coming out of the United States. The FOMC minutes, of course, being the biggest one. That will move the U.S. dollar and eventually the U.S. stock markets as well. Later in that day, we do have some numbers coming out of Australia and New Zealand, but really nothing to get too excited about. Retail sales come out of Great Britain on the 19th, the Thursday session, and as a result, we think the FTSE and the pound can be moved. And of course, we have continuing jobless claims, initial jobless claims, which will be a big number out of America, and natural gas storage numbers as well on Thursday. PPI out of Germany on Friday leads the way. As we go later into the session, we have a lot of Canadian announcements, so that could move the Canadian dollar. With all that being said, let's take a look at the weekly charts. Looking at the CAC, which has been one of the better performers, you can see we've pulled back rather drastically during the course of the week. However, we think there is a certain amount of support somewhere in this general vicinity, right around maybe the 46.5 level. So we're waiting to see if we get a bounce there. We would be willing to buy calls at that point. We recognize that 5,000 is a large psychological number, so we may have to back up a couple of times to finally break out to the upside. The euro-dollar pair had a pretty volatile week as we continue to bang around just below the 1.08 level. It is kind of forming a bit of a shooting star, so we think we are going to go lower. Not a huge surprise, really. It goes with the overall trend. We anticipate this market heading down to the 1.05 level, so we are put buyers every time it rallies. In the WTI crude market here, you can see that we did break down significantly during the course of the week, and it looks like we are heading back to the lows at 38. Any short-term rallies should be thought of as put buying opportunities. With that, we've taken a look at the upcoming week of November 16th.